My oaths betray each other till there's nothing left to keep.
Only Us by Miracle of Sound. Alright, welcome back to the Shardbreaker
Corruption time.
It's the Shardbreaker podcast. This is episode 7 of Words of Radiance. We read chapter 30 all the way through to the end of part 2, which was Interlude 8. So we had lots of chapters this week, but they were all very short chapters. I am Midnight, your host, and I am here with Darkness.
Hello. I said it, but it didn't pick up.
Oh. You were too quiet, Darkness. Alright, so we first...
Is this better?
That? Oh my god,
Oh yeah,
no.
you took that mic.
So yeah, we start with chapter 30. Episode 30.
Epitappa.
Chapter 30, which is called Nature Blushing. We get a drawing of various plant life from Shalon. And then we get our epigraph, which is...
I don't understand why it's not Crab Lake.
Because it's coral and seaweed like.
Nah, it needs to
But
be
why?
Crab Lake.
So our epigraph is, "'Tis said it was warm in the land far away, when Voidbringers entered our songs. We brought them home to stay, and then those homes became their own. It happened gradually. And years ahead 'twill still be said 'tis how it has to be." From the Listener's Song of Histories, 12th stanza. So what do you think it means that the listeners brought the Voidbringers to their home?
They sung so beautifully that the Voidbringers wanted to come.
Maybe they wanted to introduce them to their parents as their new partners.
Wow.
I don't know if you were being serious or not, but that idea is kind of cool sounding.
What, them singing them to them?
Yeah.
No, I was being serious. Isn't that kind of what their whole thing is about?
They are very big on songs, yes.
No, they're big on listening. That's why they're called
Oh yeah,
listeners.
the listeners. Uh-huh.
Well, we don't
Yeah,
know what
they definitely
their
need to call
people
singers.
used to be called. They called themselves the listeners after they left all, like, their ancestors left, like, the main group.
Yeah, they're the singers. It's okay.
I'm so tempted to give a spoiler.
Do it.
Please do. You've already told us that Yasna is not dead.
No, yeah, Yasna's definitely dead. I don't know what you're talking about. I never said anything. I never fucked up. Never once.
Well, don't fuck up this time and give us the spoiler anyways.
No. It'll
What's
come
wrong?
out.
You can just do it. Just a little.
You'll
just a
find
little
out
hint.
in like a year from now. Don't worry about it.
No, a tiny little hint. Come on.
You can't tell us that you want to give us a spoiler and then don't give us a spoiler.
Just
Doesn't
a
make
tiny little piece.
Fuck it.
You know?
'Cause
I'm gonna say, because Mythic's been going on about it anyways. Yes, their ancestors were technically called the Singers. That is what they called themselves.
Exactly.
Oh,
They are
And the fact that Mythic is continuously called them that has just been like, how the fuck?
what they are. That's what they are. All they do is sing. Of course, they're the singers.
But they called themselves the listeners because they don't consider themselves to be singers when they broke away from their people.
Well, I feel like that's mostly because they're trying to find the songs rather than trying to create them.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, they're trying to like refine all of their songs and like relearn them.
And then they'll be the singers again. Woohoo.
So we start with Shalon's point of view as she notices some colorful, diverse plants while practicing palming spheres. She eagerly says that she is going to have the caravan divert over to those, and Tin calls her strange. Macabre reluctantly agrees to steer the caravans over to them, and Shalon eagerly jumps down from the caravan once it approaches the rocky ledge that had protected this small area from the high storms.
Wait,
A few
okay. She's palming spheres.
Yeah.
The
you know what that sounds like, right?
yeah, but the ability, like, so when I think of palming spheres, there's this person that was at the Renaissance Festival who used to have these like little glass orbs, and he would put like 3 in his hand, and he could like move them in circles and do like juggling with them in his one hand. That's what it makes me sound like when
It's kind of like
I
that,
can do
except she's
that.
trying to like hide them. It's like when you're like trying to like steal money instead of like palming coins.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah.
What you're thinking about, Mythic, I can do with like, because I used to have these little practice ones just to
Yeah. I used to do it
just to
with
do tricks
oranges.
with.
I used to do it with oranges a lot. I could never use those glass spheres though. I tried. Numerous.
They're like
They're
very like
slippery.
slippery.
Yeah, they're slippery. It's hard to move.
Yeah, this would be like kind of like palming marbles because that's like the size of
That's
the money
essentially
spheres
what
are.
the glass spheres are. But
Are
just
they the same
bigger.
size as marble? Oh, okay, bigger.
No,
Yeah,
they're
they-
Just bigger.
big.
Yeah, so
They're
the spheres that she'd be doing are a lot smaller then. They'd be marble size.
Wait, they're marble size?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah,
joking.
like
You think that she's carrying around like giant spears? She has like fucking 20
This-
plus spears at one time.
Yeah, the thing is, this
It's a
whole
bag
time
of
I've been
marbles.
She's
thinking,
fucking butch. She's super fucking
this whole
butch.
this
Obviously.
whole time I've been thinking that spears are like orange sized.
No, that'd be way too many. You know, she has like a bag of marbles as money.
I would lose so much money.
A few wild axe hounds, or she thinks they are axe hounds, run off when she jumps down near the plants they are hiding in. It also makes Shalon think that there are likely no larger predators nearby. Shalon begins sketching the plants, but Gaz soon shows up, and she assumes that Gaz wants a sketch of himself, like she did for one of the other men. She draws him to look noble and wise like she had for Bluth previously. It was technically a lie, but also a truth, as it was likely how the caravan merchants that Gaz helped rescue viewed him that night. Gaz almost looks like he's going to tear up as he thanks her for the drawing. As Gaz leaves, Shalon wonders what type of person she wants to be. So what do you think about Shalon doing drawings for the different bandits like she had done for Bluth?
What was the question? What do I think about Shalon? What now?
What do you think about Shalon doing drawings for the different bandits like she had done for Bluth previously? So she's doing like these drawings where she has like the idealized versions of these men.
She's manipulating them into feeling greater than they are, so they help her, which is crazy.
Yeah, exactly what she's doing.
So Shalon then notices Vatha lurking nearby, and she tells Vatha to stop scaring her plants. He tells her that Macabre wants to stay here for the night before leaving. Patter notes that Vatha is trouble, and Shalon then begins eagerly drawing the plant life around her for a while, and eventually notices that she had drawn a wishful fantasy of Yalb and the other sailors coming out of the ocean, safe. She then draws...
That's what I'm talking about, by the way, Midnight.
Yeah, that's way too big.
Also, it's kind of sad how, like,
Mhm.
sorry, I got distracted because of the sphere, but it's kind of sad how she's got all these fucking memories of people that have, like, you know, passed, quote unquote, or whatever. We don't know if they passed or not, but still, like, can you imagine going, like, trying to go to sleep at night and then you have, like, literally vivid fucking imagery of the people that are dead?
Well,
So Shalon then draws a woman kneeling over a body with a hammer and chisel, and Shalon wonders where that image had come from. What do you think about this drawing of this woman?
it's fortune telling. That's her second power. Woo! She's manifesting.
It kind of reminds me of something. Does it remind you guys of anything?
Not even make me think about things.
Do you guys have any
what
other
was
memories
it?
about women destroying things with like hammers?
Should I?
Yeah, right. Well, I feel like she's gonna say it, and then I'm gonna be like, "Oh yeah."
Didn't we have the? Did we not already have the interlude where the woman is like smashing statues?
No.
I
No?
don't think so.
What? Am I misremembering when that comes in?
Or we just didn't listen to the interlude very well.
Maybe. So I don't remember shit. No, I don't remember anyone smashing statues. What?
Is that in the other? I feel like that was in the first book. I feel like it was
well,
interlude.
You know how long
I'm
it's
just,
been
I'm
since
just
we read the 1st book?
double checking.
If it was-
1 second.
If it was the first book, it's way too long for me to remember. Especially if it's an interlude.
Misremembering when that interlude comes up.
No, probably. It's usually how it works for you.
I think it was this one. Interlude 6. Nope, that's about Zath. Interlude. Was it? Oh, I think it was it Baxel or Jeranet? Yeah, Baxel's interlude. Interlude 7 from The Way of Kings, when he's with a woman they call Mistress, who they can't place what exact race she is, and she's in this palace going to like slash up
I remember that.
paintings, and then she smashes a statue.
Yeah, I do remember that actually.
Yes. So that was what I'm talking about. It kind of reminds me of the woman who's like smashing statues with like hammers and stuff. Like she destroys all these like pictures of one of the heralds.
You know, one of the false prophets.
And I've lost my place in our
Good.
chapters. So I was doing
Alright,
Control
podcast
F.
over. Goodbye, everybody.
No, it's not over. You just gotta scroll.
Tune in next time.
Yeah, we'll be reading the rest of the book.
And not discussing it.
Gosh. So it begins to get late, and Tin comes by to see Shalon, noting that she should be practicing forging signatures more than just drawing. Shalon says she practices both. Tin also mentions that she wants Shalon to meet some of her friends at the Shattered Plains, and says that Shalon hadn't had a hard life, although Shalon replies that her life had been harder than Tin thinks. Tin doesn't believe her, though, saying that Shalon may think her life was hard, but it wasn't. Which, yeah, Tin, you know nothing about her. She fucking murdered her dad.
She murdered her dad, possibly murdered her mother.
Watched her brother tear apart Kremling legs, her other brother, like, gambling and getting drunk.
A little arson here and there.
And then her girlfriend died in front of her. So.
And then
Yep.
her multiple boyfriends died also.
Yeah, the
Oh,
one guy
yeah.
she like trying to poison her and Yasna, and then dying himself from the poison. She's gone through a lot of shit.
And she's
She
also
stole-
obliterated
she stole-
a bunch of seamen.
she stole jewelry, piece of jewelry, and then had to give it back, and somehow convinced the same woman to then take her under her wing still. Yeah, well,
Yep.
she's lived a wild life.
There's also
Yep.
the fact that she's being forced to technically marry someone. It's fine.
She's not
Well, she's kind of all
forced,
for that.
she wants to do this. Yeah, she
Yeah,
wants
but
to
like,
do that.
are you
Yeah,
telling me that she
honestly,
wouldn't
I
have
feel-
like?
I feel like he's forced, and if anything,
Are you telling me she wouldn't have looked for someone else if she had the choice?
yes.
We don't know, they haven't met each other yet.
100%. I think
Exactly.
100% she would be going after him no matter what if she had the choice. Like 100%. I
we
think
don't know
he,
how
on
they'll
the
get
other
along.
hand, would not.
I feel like if they didn't bring that shit up, like obviously.
I always felt like Shalon and Renarin would have been a better match, because Renarin's kind of like the quiet, he seems like the type who would be into scholarship and
No,
stuff.
she would bully him.
Yeah, who's Renarin again?
Oh my gosh. It's Adelin's brother!
The dumb one that didn't fucking do anything during battle.
Oh yeah, that dumbass. Okay,
Oh my
got it.
God. Anyways, Shalon decides that Tin could be helpful during her time at the Shattered Plains, so she tells Tin that she's impersonating the betrothed of one of Dalinar's sons. Tin says
So
that this
dumb.
scam is much more attainable than the blackmail one that she believes Shalon was originally trying. Shalon then says her plan is to set up in Dalinar's war camp, but Tin says Shalon needs to seem self-sufficient, and thus she's to set up in a different High Prince's war camp. She also says that Adelin's attention may be hard to keep, as he's been nearly engaged a dozen times, and apparently he's been engaged at least once before. Shalon worries when she hears this information, as she's also worried how she'll keep the betrothal without Yasna around. So yeah, what do you think about Tin's advice about like where she should stay in the Shattered Plains, and like her kind of advice about Adelin?
Terrible advice.
I didn't like her
every time.
in general anyway, so.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like she just gives terrible advice in general. Hey, don't give yourself. Hey, give yourself an accent to these random people. Oh, well, they're not random. Oh, okay. Let's just keep giving them this accent. That'll never backfire.
I thought
hey,
like
go flirt with other people with your betrothed. No.
Oh
Yeah.
no. I
So-
stopped liking her when she was like, "Oh, you gotta like be like chill and like not so outgoing and shit." And then she's like, "Be a princess."
Yeah, right. Yeah,
Uh,
she's definitely very weird. That's for sure.
Yeah, I was never the biggest fan of Tin too, but she's not around for too long.
Thankfully.
Yeah, I mean, she comes around real fast. You know.
So we move to chapter.
We get to see the innermost 10.
So we move to chapter 31, The Stillness Before. And we get our epigraph, which is Smoke form for hiding is slipping between men, a form of power like surges of spren. Do we dare to wear this form again? It spies. Crafted of gods, this form we fear. By unmade touch, it's cursed to bear. Formed from shadow, and death is near, it lies. From the Listener's Song
It's
of
an
Secrets, 51st
invisibility
stanza.
friend.
So do you think that by death is near, it means that the listener using the form will be close to death, or that it causes death to others?
I think it means that they're. I don't know. I feel like they go invisible or some shit, and they're stealthy, and they just murder people like rogues.
I feel like they turn into smoke. Like, they're not fully invisible. Smoke form sounds like, yeah, you literally just turn into smoke. It's like the vampiric
Invisible
mist
enough.
thing.
It's invisible enough, and then you murder people.
Smoke form is
You
just
go
I'm like
Because you go inside their lungs, and then they suffocate and die.
smoke form is I'm just hitting a vape,
Damn.
Oh my god.
which I don't condone, but y'all do it.
Each of the evil like god forms are just like different drugs. This
Oh,
whole book's just don't do
God.
drugs. That's what this whole book's about. Don't do drugs, kids. This was the vaping form. There's the cocaine form.
Don't
There's
do
meth
drugs,
form.
kids.
There's alcohol
Don't do drugs,
form.
kids, unless it's gonna help you in the end of fighting these people.
Oh,
Then you go do drugs. Only do drugs when it's gonna save other people.
So we switch to Kaladin's point of view as he brings 40 previous bridgemen who aren't Bridge 4 to Bridge 4's stew night. The men seem excited and eagerly talk and laugh as Rock hands out bowls of stew to them. Kaladin glances up at the sky as it's slowly becoming dark, staring at Talon's scar and the tear that is a particularly bright star. Some of the stars move, but those are just star spren and not real stars. A man named Pitt from Bridge 17 then comes up to Kaladin to apologize for how he felt about Bridge 4 back when they were all bridgemen. But Kaladin says not to apologize as Sadeas had broken them. So what did you think about Pitt feeling bad about disliking Bridge 4 previously?
oh, that's too fucking bad, ain't it? I hold
Kaladin
grudges.
forgives him.
I hold grudges.
Kaladin only holds grudges against Light Eyes, not Dark Eyes. And Pitt's Dark Eyed, so it's fine.
You know, it's crazy how much distrust he's putting into Light Eyes. I feel like it's gonna blind him severely when a fucking Dark Eyes ends up betraying him.
Mm-hmm. Kaladin doesn't
All
like
those
how
filthy people.
classist the Light Eyes are against Dark Eyes, but he's basically the exact same towards Light Eyes. Syl likes to comment on it. She's
that
like,
I don't
Kaladin.
mind, but the fact that I feel like it, he's blindsided himself from Dark Eyes. You know, it's fine. Be Light Eye phobic or whatever, but
Yeah, it's better than being sexist.
So Kaladin then notes that he can't seem to see Teft around, and he glances around, but he sees Rock shooing away a man in Ardent's robes that is trying to draw them. Kaladin finds it strange, but Rock says it's because they are famous now. Kaladin notes that the night seems too quiet, and Sigsil mentions that there is a high storm tonight. Kaladin briefly wonders if he can almost feel the high storm coming, but then dismisses that as ridiculous. So where do you think Teft is?
look, it's tough.
Really?
I don't remember.
Teft is the older guy who's always hanging around Kaladin. He was one of the first guys that Kaladin hung around with. He's the one been training everyone.
Oh no, he's murdered. He died.
He was the one where he was from the group of people that knew about the Radiance. He's the first one who gave Kaladin a spear.
Yeah, he's dead.
He's dead.
Totally dead.
I'm pretty sure Kaladin would know if he was dead.
Nah, he's dead.
He's waiting for Kaladin
He's
in
dead,
bed.
and then he's taken over by Pershendi.
Oh wow.
They're using some other ability that we don't know about.
Possession.
Also, I don't know if you remember, but there's been in some previous pictures that were not drawn by Shallan in this book, such of the ones of the Bridgman tattoos, there's been notes from Naz on them. And so this Ardent that is trying to draw the Bridgman is Naz, Chris's assistant, in disguise, trying to draw their Bridgman tattoos from a previous picture we've gotten.
Oh.
So he's just hanging around the fucking barracks trying to draw the Bridgman tattoos for Chris, and Rock's just constantly shooing him away.
That's crazy.
You're a sick lowlander.
Because I think on the tattoo picture, there's a note from Naz being you don't know what I had to go through to get these. I hope you're happy with them.
I mean, obviously not enough.
So we then switch back to Shallan's point of view as she practices palming spheres with Tin again. Shallan notices Tin rubbing some...
Palming again.
Yep. She notices Tin rubbing some moss between her fingers, causing smoke to rise up, although she doesn't know what it is. And so I believe we got to mention very briefly of what she's doing here in the first book, which she's rubbing fire moss between her fingers, which is basically is somehow the smoke gives you a high from it. So she's basically
more drugs.
Yeah.
Drugs.
So she's doing drugs here. Shallan just doesn't know that she's doing drugs. So Tin then asks if Shallan is practicing her accents, which she confirms that she has been, and Tin says once they have more resources, they can practice costuming. She also mentions that with some costumes, Shallan will...
Tin, you won't know for much longer.
Yeah. Shallan will have to go around with her safe hand uncovered. Tin also mentions how in some parts of Eerie and the Reshi Isles, women even go around shirtless because of how hot it is. She's basically
she's just trying. She's just trying to get Shallan to take her clothes off.
She's just basically making fun of how upset Shallan gets about the immodest and all this. It's then mentioned that the war camps are only a few hours away, but Tin insists that they camp for the night and arrive first thing in the morning. Shallan then tells one of the men to ask Macabre what he...
I said, yeah, I wonder why.
to ask Macabre what he thinks about stopping here for the night, since he doesn't like being told what to do. Once the men have run off, Tin mentions that she might have some information about Shallan's homeland, but Shallan tries not to seem interested in that. Tin then tells Shallan that the king of Yokaved, his son, and 6 of his high princes are all dead. So what do you think about the chaos going on in Yokaved because of Taravangian and Seth?
What do you mean? Seth is completely innocent.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Of course. Yeah, his existential crisis says nothing.
Seth has never killed anyone in his life.
No.
Exactly. I mean,
and if he accidentally does, because it happens, he weeps,
So Tin also mentions that it is said that the assassin in white did it, and Shallan asks about which high princes were killed. Tin doesn't know all of them, but confirms that Shallan's high prince is alive and going for the throne. Shallan asks to be kept informed, and Tin agrees, although Shallan thinks that Tin has kept this information for a while from her. One of the men that come back says that Macabre thinks it's best to camp here as they won't be let into the war camp at night, and they also aren't likely to make it to the war camps before the high storm. So do you think the chaos in Yokaved is going to be good or bad for Shallan's family?
Terrible.
Yeah.
It would be absolutely terrible.
That brother's going to have a great time,
So then we go to chapter 32, The One Who Hates. And our epigraph here is, the Spren betrayed us, it's often felt. Our minds are too close to their realm. They give us forms, but more is then demanded by the smartest Spren. We can't provide what the humans lend. Though broth we are, their meat is men. From the Listener's Song of Spren, 9th stanza. So what do you think about the fact that because the listeners' minds are closer to the cognitive realm, it makes them less interesting to the smarter Spren?
That's a very interesting idea.
I mean, it makes sense, right? Because it's closer to a place that they come from, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It definitely makes sense for, like, Spren, like, pattern, where, like, he's like, I want to be here to, like, learn more about, like, the physical realm and the people in it. Whereas if the listeners are too close to the cognitive realm, he's like, well, they're not interesting because they're too like us.
Been there, done that.
Mm-hmm. So we go back to Kaladin's point of view as he dreams that he is the High Storm. As he moves across the continent, he realizes he has been in this dream before, and he turns around to see the impossibly large face of the Stormfather. The Stormfather calls Kaladin Son of Honor, and Kaladin says that this is real. The Stormfather then says that Syl trusts Kaladin, but she should not. He says that Kaladin will kill her, his daughter, and leave her corpse for wicked men. Kaladin insists he won't, but the Stormfather says it has already started and he can't stop it as humans are traitors. Then the Stormfather says that he comes for Kaladin, and that he is sorry as he calls Kaladin little traitor. So what do you think it means that Kaladin will kill Syl and leave her corpse for wicked men?
Ain't that dude dead?
The Stormfather, no.
I thought he said, oh, I'm already dead or whatever.
No, Honor is dead. The Stormfather is not Honor.
Right.
The Stormfather is just like an even higher Spren than, like, Syl in pattern.
Yeah, I couldn't tell because you didn't call them Storm Daddies. So.
Yeah, but again, what do you think it means that Kaladin's going to kill Syl and leave her corpse for wicked men?
I think he's gonna steal her power, and then all that's left is her carcass, pretty much.
Do you think that's what happened with Seth?
That he, like, has the corpse of a Spren?
Less that he has the corpse and more that he has the power of
just like he
absorbed
absorbed a Spren?
Like he fucked up a Spren in order to keep that power for himself. You know, that does seem a little crazy.
It would make sense why he wouldn't have a Spren currently, but still has the powers then.
Yeah.
So Kaladin wakes up in a room with Adolin and Renarin, blushing as he realized he had dozed off while on guard duty. Adolin is talking to Renarin.
Wait. Maybe that's what Unmade are.
You think they're like the corpses of Spren?
Huh?
Or like people like Zeth?
Like the freaking whatever requires them to kill the freaking Spren is what I feel like makes a Unmade.
So do you think like Zeth is becoming an Unmade then, or already is one?
If that's the course of action he took, then yeah.
So Kaladin wakes up in a room with Adolin and Renarin, blushing as he realized he had dozed off while on guard duty. Adolin is talking to Renarin about the woman Parshendi Shardbearer. Adolin then notices Kaladin and jokes about him sleeping on the job. Kaladin panics for a moment as he doesn't see Elhokar, but Adolin replies that he's in the privy. Kaladin, however, ignores Adolin's jibes about him sleeping and drooling as he opens the doors to the balcony to glance outside, thinking with the words, "He comes," from the Stormfather. Kaladin walks out onto the balcony, gripping the railing that was still there, as he feels like he's standing out over Damnation, also called Braze. Adolin comes over to the doorway, asking if Kaladin is mad for going out into the storm. So I wanted to note here, I don't know if you remember, but when we looked at the solar system of Roshar, Braze is the name of one of the three planets. One of the three, like, planets, like, near... So, like, there's Roshar, Ashen, and Braze. And so I wanted to ask, do you think that Damnation is actually on the planet Braze, or do you think this is just, like, a mythology-related thing where it's like, oh, this is a planet, so we're just going to say hell is there?
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a way to go. Wait, where's that spot that one dude came out of?
Town?
Yeah.
So he came from Damnation, where he was getting tortured.
Right, no, but, like, where'd he spawn?
He spawned in, like, some random town. I don't remember where it was. Wit was there. Okay. I had to look at the back of Way of Kings. I don't remember.
So Wit knew that he had to go there specifically.
So Wit has... I don't know if this is always, like... This is kind of like a very hard connect the dots thing. So basically, Wit has a special power called Fortune, which allows him to basically find himself where he feels he needs to be. So, like, if you notice...
all his stat points in, like, essentially.
Yeah, so basically, if you notice a lot of the times, he's like, I gotta go somewhere, I don't know why, but I've gotta be there. Because he just has, like, this feeling like, I need to be somewhere, and then just, like, he happens to interact with important people. So he knew he had to go there, and that's happened to be where Taln spawned because of his fortune.
Okay, so does he, like, And probably not gonna get an answer, but does he not think that comes from a certain god or something?
I don't think we've had confirmation of where his fortune comes from that I can remember off the top of my head, but I believe he knows how he got it.
Okay, cool.
But he just isn't told through this power why he's going places. He just knows that it's important that he goes certain places, which is why he's always in like these important places in these stories.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm trying to see if it tells me history of town. Return Kolinar. Returns. Does it say where he returned to? I think he appeared outside of Kolinar, which is the Alethi capital.
Maybe it's just a perpendicularity thingy or whatever.
Yeah, we haven't been told so far in the books like how the heralds get transported back and forth.
Wait, so do they have to go into freaking damnation or whatever in order to stop whatever it is that they were fighting?
Yeah, so remember they go to damnation with the Voidbringers, and at least one herald being in damnation with them somehow holds the Voidbringers back from coming back to Roshar.
Okay, so are the Voidbringers already there, or are they going there to fight?
We do not know. So the fact that Talon's back, all the heralds are back, that means the Voidbringers now are able to come back at any point. They could.
So what I gather from that is that they are still over there wherever.
So they're either over there or they've already started coming back and they just haven't revealed themselves yet because they're still coming over. But basically, as soon as Talon showed up, everyone's fucked. The desolation is coming.
This motherfucker should have stayed.
But yeah, so that's what it means. Talon's back. Everyone's fucked. That's why there's the whole countdown. The Everstorm is coming. Desolation is here. The Stormfather's like, yeah, everyone's fucked.
Yep.
Syl and Pattern are both kind of getting panicked.
Okay, but Pattern doesn't know what's happening.
Everyone's like, oh no, desolation. So we briefly switch to Shalon's point of view as Pattern hums during the high storm. It is scaring the slaves she is staying with during the storm, and she wishes she could get him to stay quiet. However, she soon notices that he is speaking while humming, saying the word bad over and over. So do you think Pattern is repeating the word bad because of Zeth, or because of like the coming desolation, or because of something else?
It's something else. I don't think it's necessarily because of Zeth.
What do you think, Mythic?
I think it's something else entirely, to be honest. I don't know what, but I think it's something. I mean, Pattern's just weird in general.
Fair. So we switch back to Kaladin's point of view as Syl zips over to Kaladin and says something bad is coming. The one who hates. Kaladin hurries back. Kaladin hurries back inside and tells Adolin to get the king as they are leaving. Kaladin then bursts into the room where Dalinar and Navani are, and Dalinar is speaking softly to her. Kaladin then realizes that Dalinar sees things during the high storms. Kaladin asks Navani if she can wake Dalinar, but Navani is upset with Kaladin for bursting into the room. Luckily, Dalinar is awake, and when he asks Kaladin why they need to leave, he accepts Kaladin's response of instinct. So what do you think of Dalinar accepting Kaladin's instinct to get out of the palace without much explanation?
Powerful man he is.
It's crazy how much trust he's put into him.
Yeah, he puts a lot of trust into Kaladin.
Yet he can't seem to trust him when he tells him that,
that one dude is bad.
Exactly.
Hammer him, yeah.
He's like, no, my boyfriend could never do that.
Oh God.
No, he wants him to be his nephew, his nephew-in-law. Remember, Yasna's dad wanted to hook her and Amram up.
That would have been great, actually.
I don't think so. Yasna was not interested.
Yeah, no.
You think she wouldn't have fucked him up?
Yasna's got to be with Wit. So.
No, don't do that. Wit's too old for her.
Wit's too old for everyone. So Kaladin then opens the door into the hallway, instructing the 6 guards there into Advance Guard, Rear Guard, and King's Guard. Kaladin then hauls Elgar by his arm out of the room and down the hallway. The rest of the Light Eyes follow, with Dalinar saying that once they are evacuated, he'll want to know what prompted this. Kaladin isn't sure how he'll tell Dalinar that his friend is having a fit, and that is why he is panicking. Kaladin takes them deeper into the palace, wanting to go out a back door in the kitchens instead of through the front. As they go farther, the hallway ahead becomes dark, and Kaladin sees a hole cut into the wall. Syl says that he is here, and Kaladin sees a figure in white with a thin shard blade. He realizes
who that could be.
He realizes he has seen this man before in his previous dream as the High Storm, although he hadn't recognized him at the time. Dalinar begins shouting instructions as he grabs a spear from one of Kaladin's men and rushes the assassin. Kaladin realizes the man is glowing and is a surge binder, and that Dalinar is going to get himself killed. Kaladin takes in Stormlight as well, as much as he could without glowing, and wonders what Spren could have chosen this man. So what do you think about Azeth appearing during the High Storm? He finally made it.
It took him a while.
I mean, he was having his crisis. So
That's fair.
Also, what do you think about Dalinar instantly wanting to fight Szeth?
Well, it makes sense. He knows who he
Prideful.
is.
Man's prideful.
I mean, he's like, I'm not drunk this time. I'm gonna not let you take someone else from me. He's like trying to get redemption for being drunk when his brother died.
He's like, want me, choose me.
I mean, that's who he wanted. So
Yeah, he thinks he wants Elhokar. So Dalinar instructs Kaladin and Adolin to get into a trident formation with him as they rush the assassin. However, the assassin jumps and lands on the ceiling. Adolin is shocked that the rumors were true and tries to attack in an awkward angle, but the assassin knocks away the attack and slams his hand onto Adolin's chest. This causes Adolin to flip and crash into the ceiling. Kaladin thrusts his spear in time with Dalinar's, and they both hit. The assassin is not bothers to dodge as he slices their spears in half. Dalinar and Kaladin back off as they watch the assassin's wounds heal. Kaladin wonders if the man is somehow a Windrunner like him. Adolin then crashes to the ground.
Oh, sorry. No, I was gonna say. I think it's funny that Adolin is now losing a fight.
Yeah, Adolin's not prepared for fighting a Surge Binder. So Adolin then crashes to the ground, dropping his shard blade as the assassin apologizes for this as he steps. Sorry, I'm just choking all of a sudden.
Yeah, an assassin apologizing. It's so crazy.
It's all that fucking chocolate you be eating.
It is. He's got like a wafer stuck in the back of my throat.
Can you do that
You should
again?
drink some water. No, I'm not doing that.
So the assassin apologizes for this as he steps over Adolin. Kaladin, however, charges forward, feeling the wind guide him as he begins to strike at the assassin with his half-spear to try to use up the man's stormlight through healing. The assassin curses and raises his shard blade to strike, and Kaladin tries to dodge and strike as well, but the assassin doesn't move as Kaladin had expected. Kaladin's instants have him block with his half-spear, but because the assassin has a shard blade, his block makes no difference, and Kaladin's arm gets sliced through and falls dead at his side. So what were your first thoughts when Kaladin's arm got cut by the shard blade?
Oh no!
Nah, at first I was upset. I was like, fuck no, his arm. And then I'm like, wait, it's fine. He's lost so much shit. He might as well just fight without it.
Damn.
Not gonna make that much of a difference.
So Kaladin is kicked to the side by the assassin, and he says that he can't defeat him as he's a Radiant, but Syl replies the assassin is not a Radiant as no Spren guides him. Kaladin watches as Dalinar shouts that the assassin won't get to Elhokar, but the assassin replies that he is here for Dalinar. The assassin kicks Dalinar in the leg, causing the man to go down on one knee, and Kaladin gets up to try to somehow run at the assassin. However, he's too slow, and the assassin brings down his shard blade. However, Dalinar catches the sword between his palms. Kaladin then slams into the assassin to throw him into the wall. Instead he throws them both out the hole the assassin had cut. So what do you think about Dalinar catching the shard blade?
Kind of wild.
It's fucking
That was
badass.
I'm gonna catch my shard blade.
Oh, I
Okay.
bet. I'm right here, darkness. You know, do it
Can you imagine if somebody actually fucking used this like terminology during stuff?
Oh my
that
gosh.
lion. I'm gonna catch my shard blade. Oh, I'm right here. Don't worry.
We're gonna move on.
Are you ready to give me all your breath?
Yeah, I'll give you all my breasts.
Oh my gosh. Chapter 33, Burdens. Our epigraph
Yeah,
is...
those have definitely got some burdens for sure.
The epigraph is, but it is not impossible to blend. Their surges to ours in the end. It has been promised and it can come, or do we understand the sum? We question not if they can have us then, but if we dare to have them again. From the Listener's Song of Spren, 10th stanza. So what do you think it means that it has been promised that the listeners can have surges again?
The gods are being generous.
Maybe the Spren are like, it's about time. We don't want the fucking humans killing us all over again, so we're gonna go with you.
Like, yeah, the humans fucked us up last time. We're gonna just not.
Right. I would too. Not fuck them up, but like join the other side.
So we continue with Kaladin's point of view as he falls through the rain, clinging to the assassin who had dropped his shard blade. Kaladin notices that the assassin seems to have spears, and Kaladin breathes in the stormlight just before the assassin kicks him away. Kaladin hits the ground hard, but he's alive, and he can feel the stormlight healing his wounds, but not his hand. Kaladin slowly gets up as he sees the assassin has landed gracefully on his feet. At first the man speaks in a language unknown to Kaladin, and then he speaks in Alethi, asking if he had lashed Kaladin somehow. Kaladin could feel something within him, and he heaved the light within him, and his dead arm healed. So what do you think about Zest's confusion on Kaladin surviving the fall?
Well, we know he wasn't aware that there was more people who were surge binders.
Yeah, he thought he was the only one.
He is the only one. Syl doesn't lie.
I was more interested in how the fuck he healed.
Well, that was my next question. What do you think about the fact that Kaladin can heal like a shard blade like injury?
Main character syndrome.
Right.
No, it's a power of the having surge binding.
Nah, it's definitely main character syndrome.
Okay, but is it like a specific power for his? I was gonna say class, but you know what? I'm just gonna stick to that because it's easier to remember. But
no, so
Everyone can do
the
it.
healing yourself, everyone can do. There is,
including the shard blade stuff.
I believe so. Yes, it takes up a lot more Stormlight, but yeah, you can heal shard blade cuts too.
I'm just gonna say I'm happy to say that at this point, the argument of that one dude, Vasher or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Dude, we all love and hate whatever.
I love Vasher. Vasher's awesome.
It's technically not valid considering that he could just heal from his wounds.
Well, I don't know if Vasher knows that he can heal from shard blade wounds.
Well, that's the only thing that came into my mind. That made me happy because fuck you.
Yeah.
Well,
we also
Vasher's only here looking for Nightblood anyways.
So every order of the Knights Radiant can heal themselves. I believe.
We know one can heal others.
And then there's two, because remember every order shares a surge. So there's two orders that have an ability that can heal others. So we don't know if they can also heal shard blade wounds, but they can definitely heal normal wounds as well.
Wait, so like it'd be crazy if Kaladin had that other healing thing.
He does not. No.
Yeah, but it would be crazy because he's a freaking surgeon dude. No.
Yeah, it would be cool if he had ended up being. I could definitely have seen him being one of the other orders that does have the healing one. There's there's another order that has the healing ability where their whole thing is like looking out for the people that are forgotten, and I could definitely see Kaladin being that type of Radiant as well if he wasn't a Windrunner.
Yeah.
Like it makes like sense for his whole thing as well, like protecting but also like remembering and being there for people seems like a big thing for him if he had taken more of the surgeon route. So I feel like in another life, Kaladin still would have been a fucking Radiant. He just would have been a different order. So the assassin shouts out no as Kaladin begins to lunge at him with a knife, although the assassin jumps backwards. He asks what Kaladin is, and Kaladin replies that he is a Windrunner, just like the assassin. The assassin screams that Kaladin can't be.
He was actually asking his sexuality.
The assassin screams that Kaladin can't be, that they had called him a liar and named him truthless. Kaladin slowly steps forward, breathing out a puff of light. The assassin asks if they are all back, and Kaladin says yes, even though he doesn't know what the assassin is talking about. The assassin then launches himself into the sky and leaves just before Kaladin blacks out. So what do you think about Zest's response to Kaladin being a surge binder?
Maybe he needs a surge binder boyfriend. No, we know it has to do with how he was labeled truthless and like his backstory and shit.
Yeah, so there's like hints here that somehow the fact that there are surge binders is related to the fact that he's truthless. Because he says they had called him a liar, they had named him truthless, when Kaladin says that he's a Windrunner.
Yeah, whoever his people are, not the best people.
So
no.
Yeah. So Zest is having like an existential crisis now. He's like, what the fuck is happening? I gotta go, dude!
Get out of here before things get even weirder.
Can we like rain check?
Yeah, can I assassinate Dalinar later? Like, I got some things to work out.
He's like, I gotta go do some thinking. I gotta go sort myself out.
Maybe some ancestry DNA stuff.
So Kaladin wakes up a little later to Syl joking about him sleeping on the job. Kaladin was relieved to feel his arm and hand aching. He asks Syl why she didn't tell him he could heal from shardblade wounds, and she replies that she didn't know until he did it. She then mentions that there are dead people up in the palace. Kaladin slowly gets to his feet and makes his way back up the pinnacle to the palace. He also rips off his coat sleeve to hide the fact that he'd been cut with a shard blade. Eventually he makes it inside and notices how quiet it is, until he sees a small light in the distance, and the scared voice of Mart asking who he is. However, once Kaladin can be seen, the men guarding the door cheer. Kaladin is brought into the room where Dalinar and his family were resting. Eth was treating Dalinar's wounds as Kaladin had taught his men field medicine. Dalinar and Adolin are shocked to see Kaladin alive, and he wants to tell Dalinar that he's a surge binder, but not with Elhokar and Adolin in the room. Instead, he says that he clung to the assassin and somehow was alive when they hit the ground. Dalinar assumes it has to do with a power similar to how he had stuck Aelin to the ceiling. Elhokar asks if Kaladin killed the assassin, but Kaladin replies that the assassin ran off. So what do you think about Kaladin, like, almost telling Dalinar there that he was a Surgebinder?
You should have.
Sounds like if there hadn't been as many people in the room, he would have.
That's like, he's trying to come out, yeah. Like, deadass, he's trying to come out.
Yeah, he's trying to come out as a Surgebinder.
Mm-hmm. Kaladin's gonna be like, I'm so proud of you.
Sale's been encouraging him to come out. So is Teft. Like, you gotta tell people. He's like, I can't tell people.
Gotta do it all alone.
So Dalinar asks how Kaladin had known, and Kaladin replies that he had seen a light outside, not mentioning that it had been Syl. Elhokar goes on about how he knew the assassin would come for him, causing Dalinar and Kaladin to share a look, but they don't mention that the assassin had really been after Dalinar. Adolin asks what they'll do if the assassin comes back, and Dalinar just replies that he doesn't know. Kaladin then asks Moash where the servants are, and Moash replies that Dalinar had gotten some guards to get them out of the building in case the assassin came back and started killing people. Kaladin then heads out into the hallway. We move briefly to Aelin's POV as he watches Kaladin leave, thinking the man thought himself above even the king as he didn't ask for permission to withdraw. Although Adolin does think that Kaladin fought alongside him, even though most dark or light-eyed men wouldn't fight against a shard bearer. Adolin is also confused as he thought he had seen Kaladin's arm get caught by the assassin's shard blade. But it seemed fine now. Elhokar opens a door to go into his bedroom, but freezes when it's revealed that glyphs are etched into the back of the wooden door. Renarin reads the glyphs out loud. 38 days, the end of all nations. So do you think Adolin will figure out that Kaladin is a Surgebinder?
Yes.
He's getting real suspicious.
Yeah. Aelin's gonna become a Surgebinder too, no?
Think so?
I think so. For sure.
Yeah, I agree.
What type of Surgebinder do you think you would be?
A stripper.
Oh gosh. Oh jeez.
Oh, what do you mean? Are my options?
Like, just like, what do you think, like, the type of oaths he would have are? Like, what do you think, like, his focus would be? Because I know you guys don't, like, know a lot about the different types yet, but, like...
Nope. I don't know, but hopefully...
We need one of those. Probably the light one.
I don't know, but hopefully it doesn't cost him an arm and a leg as well.
So they have... I can give the little
Can you tell me what the light one is?
The Lightweaver one, like Shalana's?
No, the
The
freaking-
healing one?
yeah.
The Truth Watcher?
That one, Shoemaker, the one he had.
Oh yeah, the Shoemaker was a Truth Watcher, I believe, which is I will seek truth.
Oh, never mind. Fuck that.
So there's Windrunners, which is I will protect. There's Skybreaker, which I will seek justice. There's Dustbringer, which I will seek self-mastery.
That's probably that one.
Edge Dancer, which is I will remember, which is the other healing one, which is the one I think Kaladin would be if he wasn't a Windrunner. Truth Watcher, which is I will seek truth. Lightweaver, I will speak my truth. Elsecaller, I will reach my potential. Will Shaper, I will seek freedom, which is what you are, Darkness. Stoneward, I will be there when I'm needed. Bondsmith, I will unite.
Unite.
I think he was that one, the freaking dust thing or whatever.
Dustbringer, I will seek self-mastery.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably, to be honest. Sounds very much like him.
Because of his little duel shit.
Because of his dueling stuff, yeah.
I just wanted to
Actually,
know
I wouldn't be surprised if
going on
Renarin
with
is the Surgebinder instead.
You think Renarin's going to be the Surgebinder instead of Adolin?
It's either one of those two. One of those.
One of his sons
Yeah,
is going to
one of
be...
them, yeah.
And if it's Renarin, I'm going to be so disappointed.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
He's going to get that fucking...
Way
He's
to have
gonna get
faith,
that
I guess.
spren. He's gonna train with it, master it all and shit. And then when the battle comes, he's gonna be like, "Oh, I'm busy. Sorry."
Well, he also said that not all Surgebinders are fighters. There was like scholars and like all sorts of other people, healers and everything.
They can all fight though, because they have the capability of like.
I mean, they all can, but not all of them were like focused on fighting.
I guess. What is he gonna do? Write books? Hut too.
Talk to.
So we go back to Kaladin's point of view as he goes back to where the assassin had entered the palace and finds Beld's corpse, his eyes burned out. Syl says that he died protecting, but Kaladin replies that he should have been able to save Beld. Syl replies that the men made their choices to stay and protect, and that Kaladin can't take that choice away from them. Kaladin then brings up what the assassin could do and asks if he needs to speak more words to do that, but Syl replies that she thinks Kaladin could do those things with practice. So Kaladin has the potential to be as good as Zeph. He just needs to practice a lot more. So Kaladin then asks how the man is a Surgebinder without a spren, and Syl replies that no honor spren would give the man a means to slaughter. Kaladin, however, replies that humans have different perspectives, and what if an honor spren thought that the killing that the assassin was doing was right, just like how Syl allowed him to kill the Parshendi. Syl also says that the assassin's shard blade is different and that there was something about the amount of light he was consuming. So what do you think about Zest's blade and the fact that he has no sprint?
I've kind of given my theory, so.
Do you remember what we've been told about people who can use surge bindings that don't have a spren?
No.
What have the listeners said? They're like, oh, the surge binder is back, so our gods are coming back no matter what. And they're like, no, it could have been something else.
Right. I remember that conversation, but I don't remember what the exact word they used for it was.
Honor blade. They said it could have been an honor blade.
Right, because of the freaking. Oh, right. That was another thing that I was gonna say, because the fucking. They said the sword looked different and everything.
Yeah, so Syl says that his shard blade is different.
Yeah, it's Nightblood.
So.
That's what Basher's
Can you imagine? Nightblood and him are
Basher's
just
here,
getting
man.
along, and that's why they're together.
That's
So-
why Basher's here. He had to come get Nightblood.
So the assumption is that Seth has a shard blade and not a spren, and that's how he has the powers. He's like kind of like a fake surge binder. He can do the surges, but like it's because of this honor blade and not because of a bond with a spren.
Could you imagine if he had both? Ooh.
That would be crazy, having
Yeah.
both.
He'd be unstoppable.
Especially if you had like a spren that gave you completely different powers than the blade. Because this blade is giving him Windrunner powers. But imagine if he had like a Lightweaver spren, like a cryptid like pattern.
Wait, how does that work again?
So I'm saying like he has no spren. So Mythic was saying, what if he got a spren and a blade?
Mm.
And I was
Oh,
saying like
right.
he could have like two completely different sets of powers.
How many
Yeah.
swords are there?
Then he'd be unstoppable.
We don't know. We don't know. The only thing we know
Well,
about
we
the
know from
honor-
the beginning.
well,
No, we don't.
The freaking the heralds one.
the heralds each had their own sword.
They had like
Oh.
10, right?
Yeah, there's 10 heralds, 10 of their swords. We
And
don't know
how
if
many of the-
we don't know anything about the honor blades besides the fact that they can apparently mimic surge binding. We don't know how
Right.
many of them.
So is there
are.
one for each? One for each thing.
We don't know
right?
yet.
How many classes are there?
Orders, there's 10, one for each herald. Each
That
herald is
sounds
in
like a
charge of one
great
order.
It's just 10 swords.
You think there's 10 honor blades, one for each order?
Yeah.
Would make sense. What if there's 10 for each order? There's 100 honor blades. I think it'd be more common, though. People would know more about that then. Because it doesn't seem like anyone knows, like... doesn't seem like Dalinar knows about the honor blades. Like, he's not been here being like, oh, no, he has an honor blade. That's why he can do this. So, apparently the Alethi do not know about these honor blades, but the Parshendi/listeners do. But yeah. So Kaladin then goes looking for Hobber, as he had sent both Hobber and Belt ahead to scout the hallway. Surprisingly, he found Hobber alive and weeping that he was sorry. Hobber's legs had been sliced through with a shard blade, leaving them both gray and dead. Hobber says that he thought Kaladin and everyone had been killed as he could hear them fighting previously. Kaladin insists that Hobber is still Bridge 4 and that he can learn to help Rock cook, even though Hobber says he is terrible at cooking. Kaladin then lifts Hobber up, straining a little, but sucking in some stormlight to bolster his strength as he carries Hobber to the others. So what do you think about Hobber being alive but being paralyzed from the waist down?
Consequences.
You know, it'll be great once somebody can fucking heal him.
Mhm.
Yeah, Kaladin, why aren't you a fucking else caller?
He needs to get his shit together.
I want a story of Kaladin the else caller.
My god. Be a short story.
Kaladin goes to Carbranth to study to be a surgeon and becomes an elf caller. Takes down
keep hearing-
Taravangian in his creepy
I
hospital.
keep hearing elf collar.
Else. Oh, I'm saying the wrong word. I meant edge dancer. Else caller is what Yasna is. It's supposed to be edge dancer. Kaladin the edge dancer. That's what I meant. I'm getting it wrong.
Yeah, he'll be dancing on the edge for sure.
Of glory?
Yep.
And then we get to chapter 34, Blossoms of Cake.
Yummy.
And our epigraph is, our gods were born splinters of a soul, of one who seeks to take control, destroys all lands that he beholds with spite. They are his spren, his gift, his price, but the night forms speak of future life. A challenged champion, a strike even he must requite. From the Listener's Song of Secrets, final stanza. So what do you think about the fact that the gods of the listeners are his spren and splinters of a soul?
The gods of the listeners are his spren? Is that what
Yeah,
you're
so
saying?
it says, our gods were born splinters of a soul, they are his spren, it eventually says.
So their gods are spren.
Yeah, so their
That's
gods
literally
are
just
spren
confirmation.
of, it sounds like the evil god Odium.
Right.
And that's why they don't want it back. They don't want Odium spren back. So you remember all the way back then, Alethi think that the gods of the Parshendi are the fucking chasm fiends. And it's like, no,
Yeah.
they're actually evil spren. Is what their gods are.
Are they evil though? Do we know why Odium's doing what he's doing?
I mean, we know that Odium is going around killing a bunch of different shards. He's
But
killed.
why?
We don't know. We know that
Exactly.
Wit thinks odium needs to be stopped, though. Wit's not a fan of odium.
Okay, but Witch is old fashioned. He wants his god back.
He wants Adonasium back.
Yeah.
He also says that the vessel of odium is like a fucking terrible person. Apparently, Ray's was like
maybe
a
he's
shitty person.
misunderstood. Maybe he's terrible because the other people don't think the same way he does. Maybe I'm Team Odium now. Who knows?
Okay, Darkness is Team Odium. Mythic, are you gonna be Team Honor and I'll be Team Cultivation? We can each be one of the 3 shards here on the planet.
No, I'm Team Desolation.
You're also Team Odium?
That's perfect.
Yeah. I'm Team Cultivation.
Odium is the best.
Mm-hmm.
So we move back to Shallan's point of view as Tin is getting information through her span read. It mentions one of the Veden High Princes trying to take over Yakaved, but also mentions that the High Prince may be dead as he was in poor health and his bastard son might be pretending he isn't. She thinks that the chaos of succession in Yakaved could either make her family make the people her family has debt to want the money now, or it could cause them to forget about the debts completely. She also doesn't know if this will affect the Ghostbloods wanting the Soulcaster back. Tin asks if Shallan knows any of the people being mentioned by her contact, but Shallan replies that she wasn't important enough to know those sorts of people. Tin mentions that at some point they may want to go to Yakaved to take advantage of the chaos, although Shallan worries about going into a war zone. The Spannery then begins writing about the men Shallan took in and the bounties on their heads. Shallan is not happy about this and begins arguing with Tin that she will not turn over the men for money and that they can be useful. Tin, however, says that a con woman dies when she starts believing her own lies, and she drops her glass of wine on the carpet. Shallan freezes as she sees the red carpet, once white. So what do you think about Tin wanting to bring Shallan back to Yakaved?
Yakaved.
Well, we know it don't last, so.
Yeah, we know that's not happening. But
I was happy when she had that unfortunate accident.
I don't think it was an accident.
What do you mean? Her thing is about lying, it's an accident.
So Tin also mentions that she can't haul a carpet around with her, and Shallan won't be able to free the men from High Prince Sadius. And even if Dalinar could help, why would she want to use up his goodwill on that instead of something else? Shallan thinks that she won't betray the men, but isn't sure how she can keep up with helping Vatha and his men while still keeping Tin around. She also wonders what will happen when Tin finds out she is actually engaged to Adolin. So what do you think about Tin wanting to get rid of Vatha and his men, just like how she would get rid of the carpet?
Do you think she would have succeeded?
Yes.
Well, then great timing for her to take out that sword, finally.
And then just materialize it into her. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Almost like I called it.
So Tin then is distracted by a new message about how Tin's benefactor is happy with Tin's previous job, although they are asking about information that Tin may have gotten. Apparently they are looking for information about a city, but the target, Yasna Colon, is dead. Shallan's jaw drops as Tin states that maybe she'll get paid after all. The Spannery then starts writing about Shallan's connection to Yasna, and she tries to stop the Spannery, but Tin catches her hand as she reads the message. The Spannery describes Shallan and mentions that she hadn't seemed important, which is why she wasn't mentioned previously. So first of all, what do you think about Tin being behind Yasna's murder?
Wild. I was definitely caught off guard by it a little bit. But
yeah, I didn't expect that.
It seems that Shallan is always getting the ghost bloods.
Yeah, she's constantly surrounded by the ghost blood. She can't get away from them.
It's in her heritage.
Also, what do you think about the Spannery revealing Shallan's identity to Tin?
Right. Huh. I was trying to remember what the Spanweeds are.
They're like the
No, I got it.
messaging.
Yeah. No, I got it. I mean, that literally started the clusterfuck that happened right after, so...
Yeah.
Alright, be right back.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Just wait here for a minute then.
Midnight, what do you think of the Spren and how they're evil gods? What are your theories?
Oh, what do I think about I think that we should not have allowed the evil Spren to come back. We should not have started the desolation.
Why not? It's good to, when you fell once, it's good to restart all over again.
No, it's not a good thing. I think
Why
we
not?
need to kill Odium.
No, Odium is best.
No, we need to get rid of Odium. I think Cultivation needs to be the one true god. Cultivation is my preferred shard.
Cultivation is not a god.
Cultivation is one of the shards. What are you talking about?
It's a corpse.
Oh god. Okay, I'm back.
Okay. So Tin curses and begins.
What's with this Odium? Odium slander? Huh?
I was saying Odium's a shitty god and needs to die.
Yeah. Why would you slander Odium like that?
Because he's a shitty
Crazy.
god.
How is he a shitty god if he had
He's
more,
been trapped here. He's like he got Honor
I
at
feel
one
like-
up on him. He's obviously an
the
inferior
Nate's
shard.
Honor's dead.
Trying to like kind of sway us away from Odium makes us really
Nah,
want Odium more.
because it's the fact that Odium's been shattering shards. What has Honor done, huh? Nothing.
Honor trapped Odium here.
And what happened to Honor?
Well, he
Yeah,
died, but
Exactly.
that's fine.
He
Cultivation's
died,
chilling.
Are they though?
As far as we know, Cultivation's chilling.
Cultivation?
Cultivation's gonna be the evil one.
That'd be awesome! Holy shit.
Anyway, so Tin curses and begins hauling Shalon to a chair as Shalon tries to get her arm free. Tin slams her to the ground and places a boot on her back. Tin then begins asking where Yasna is as Shalon tries to call for help. Tin, however, mentions that she has the area cleared in case Shalon tried to warn the men that Tin wanted to hand them in for the bounty. Tin asks again if Yasna lived, and Shalon says no, but Pattern mimics Yasna's voice. Shalon takes Tin's surprise to try to leave the tent, but she's grabbed and pulled back by her leg. Shalon begins to attack back, but Tin slams a punch into her stomach and then hits Shalon in the head. Tin mentions trying to blame this on Vatha as she pulls out her sword. Shalon tries to call out for Pattern as Tin says Shalon had fooled her. Shalon begins to count 10 heartbeats, but thinks that she doesn't actually need 10. However, she wants to wait until 10 as she needs time. As Tin approaches, Shalon breathes in stormlight and throws out an image of herself, causing Tin to stop short for a moment and say that she must be going mad. Shalon then throws her hand out and her shard blade is summoned into her hand and through Tin's chest, barely giving Tin a second to gasp before her eyes burn out. Shalon then says she had told Tin she had learned difficult things already. So what did you think about Shalon thinking that she doesn't actually need 10 heartbeats?
She's super powerful.
She is delusional, is what she is. Maybe she has, like, high blood pressure or something.
She has a really fast heartbeat and she's like, it's not 10 heartbeats, but it actually is. Because her heart's just like racing.
But, like, heartbeats are, like, seconds for them. And then, like, she's like, no, literally, my heart. What
No,
dictates?
it's dying.
How many beats per second do you get?
I think it's like 80 or 90 something generally.
That's
that
like,
per
you
minute?
summon that shit quick
Or is that
then!
no, I think
The
that's
fuck?
per minute, sorry.
I was about to say.
Heartbeats per second. Normal heart rate is 60 to 100 per minute. So that would be about a little under 2 per minute. Between 1 to like 1.5 per minute. Or per second. 1 to 1.5 per second.
I see. That's not that bad.
So if your heart's racing, it could take like maybe like 5 seconds. But if you're just chilling, it takes like 10 seconds. Also, what do you think about Tin trying to kill Shalon, but Shalon killing her with her shard blade instead?
That was great. I was satisfied, finally.
Yep, sounds just better.
The only good thing she's done.
It's a great moment. I'm like, I love seeing Shalon kill Tin. Such a good chapter.
I bet you do. You never liked 10 in the first place.
Nah, Tin was kind of meh.
Exactly.
I agree.
So Vatha, Gaz, and the other soldiers open up the tent flap and freeze as they see Shalon pointing her shard blade at them. She asks about Tin's soldiers, and Vatha states that Shalon could have killed them all the night the bandits came. She again asks about Tin's soldiers, and they reply that they are dead, as they had heard a voice asking to come help, but Tin's soldiers had tried to stop them. They ask if the voice was of the Almighty, but Shalon replies it was the voice of her Spren, and that is all they need to know. She says that Tin was hired to assassinate her, and asks them to bring her anything they can find with writing on it, so she can get any information Tin has. Shalon sits down, dismissing her shard blade and telling the men not to tell the merchants about what they saw, although she doubts they'll be able to keep from mentioning it for too long. She then changes the paper on the span reed and resets the pen. It begins writing that the Ghostbloods would like a meeting with Tin at the Shattered Plains. Shalon remembers the span reed previously mentioning a city they were researching and thinks that the Ghostbloods must have information on Urithiru. Shalon replies yes to the ask about the meeting with the Ghostbloods. So do you think Shalon is going to be able to meet up with the Ghostbloods at the Shattered Plains?
Yeah, I think so. Also, it's crazy how we got confirmation that they're at the Shattered Plains.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I have a feeling that that one bitch is tied to them. What's her name?
Which one?
Sadius' wife?
Oh, Eli? Mm.
Ellie? Yeah,
No,
Totally
not Ellie.
Eli.
totally Ellie.
And then we go into our interludes. The first one being Interlude 5, The Rider of Storms. So we switch to Eshonai's point of view as she speaks to Thude while the rest of the Parshendi get their homes ready for the high storm. The five had taken much longer than Eshonai wanted to agree to let her to send a messenger to discuss peace, and Thude had just now gotten back, confirming that there will be a meeting in 7 days on a neutral plateau. Eshonai asked if he had seen the Blackthorn, but he hadn't seen him or the Searchbinder. So what do you think about how long the five took to decide on whether they should speak to Dalinar?
Honestly, I didn't think she would, like, council, you know.
Mm.
I thought she was gonna go for it.
Mm-hmm.
We also know that Eshonai really wanted this meeting to take place before the high storm where she was going to become storm form, and obviously that didn't happen because of how long it took the five to decide on this.
Yeah.
So Thud then says they can talk more after the storm and wishes Eshonai well. He leaves and Eshonai checks her storm shield that is on her back and the sphere that has the captured spren inside it that Venli had given her. She then begins running for the storm, jumping over a chasm as only a warform could. Workform had to use rope bridges to get to the plateaus where they grew food. Windsprints zip around as the storm wall approaches, and Eshonai jumps 2 more plateaus before stopping. She gets out her shield and thinks that the song stated that a listener going out into the storm for a new form would be protected, but she wasn't sure if that was true or not. Most listeners still hid behind large rocks until the storm wall had passed, but Eshonai preferred a storm shield. It allowed her to face the rider of the storm, whom the humans called the Stormfather, head-on. Her people called him a traitor as he protected the humans instead of the listeners. As Eshonai braces herself for the storm, she wishes she had on her shard plate, but for some reason it interfered with transformations. So why do you think shard plate interferes with the transformations of the listeners?
Repeat the question.
Why do you think
Why do you
shard
think-
plate
Go ahead.
interferes with the transformation of the listeners?
You know how what was the because it's like how metal worked with the freaking ruin.
You think it's like similar, like this is like a metal that's like blocking out like the powers of the shards?
It's I say it works in a similar way.
Mhm.
You know how like it was like clogging his eyes because it was so bright or whatever because it's part of their power.
So do you think shard plate is made of a god metal, just like there's metal for ruin and preservation? Do you think there's a metal for honor and odium and like other shards?
I wouldn't be surprised, honestly.
Because we never had confirmed what shard plate or shard blades are made of, what type of metal.
Yeah.
And like they've been struggling to like recreate them. Maybe they're made of like god metal.
Possible.
So as the storm hits, Eshonai's shield is ripped away from her. She then ducks down to the ground as she tries to hold out against the storm, even though it felt like the wind was trying to destroy her. Apparently some of the listeners would wait inside until the storm wall was gone before coming out to transform, but that made it less likely the transformation would happen, as you never knew when the transformation would take place. Eshonai then glances up at the sky, thinking that the rider of the storms used to be a friend to her people, that her people were of the storms. Suddenly, all of the rhythms became the same in her mind, a single beating rhythm like a heart. She could see the rider of the storms' face in the sky, and she smashes the gemstone to release the spren inside, and begins trying to get the right feeling inside her. The rider of the storms asks if this is what she really wants. The spren looks like red lightning as it zips around her, almost like anger spren, and Eshonai thinks that something is wrong. Eshonai begins to try to reject the transformation, but the spren hits her in the chest. The rider of the storm says he cannot stop this and says he is sorry. Her body begins the transformation. So what do you think about Eshonai trying to reject the transformation and the Stormfather apologizing for not being able to help her?
I mean, it's of odium, of course, so that's why it's going to be the most badass.
So yeah, this is definitely one of Odium's spren. Sil has also
Mhm.
mentioned seeing like red lightning spring around and saying that it was like his spren.
You know, the one that she hisses at.
So yeah, this is our first spren of Odium that we've seen. The
No, it's
storm
not.
spren. Pretty sure
Totally
it is.
other ones we've seen. No, you're just lying to us. There's
Okay.
totally been other ones.
Okay.
Yeah, Yasna has one. So
Yasna does not have an Odium spren.
yeah,
Yasna is an odium
Ink
spren.
is totally an odium friend for sure.
Ink spren are not an Odium spren.
Yeah, totally.
Who the fuck thought ink spren? Yeah, that's a great idea.
The same person who thought all these other spren were great ideas.
Oh, you're right.
So then we get our second interlude, interlude 6, Zale. We switch to Zale's point of view as he wakes up to the feeling of someone nearby. He throws open the door and notices how wet out it is and remembers that one of the storms had been through, fully invested and looking for a place to put the investiture. Kaladin jumps back from the door in surprise as he had been about to knock. It was the bodyguard that always had a spren zipping around him. Zale notes that Kaladin is a mess with blood and torn clothing and asks what happened, to which Kaladin replies that there had been an attempt on the king's life 2 hours ago. So what do you think about the fact that Zale can sense Syl?
It's not a shock to be honest. Everybody seems to be able to notice Syl.
Maybe he has crab people blood.
Also, the part where it says he wakes up to the feeling of someone nearby, if you remember in Warbreaker, one of like the things you get as you get more breath is you get like this like life sense and you can like feel the people moving around you in like a certain radius. So that's what he's feeling there. So Kaladin asks if the offer to teach him how to defend against a Shardblade was still open. Zahel says no and then turns to go back to bed, and Kaladin pushes the door back open and begs for a chance. Zahel cuts him off, saying 2 people live here. The first is a grouchy swordsman who has a soft spot for kids and over their head, and comes out at day. The second is the very grouchy swordsman who hates everyone and comes out when a fool wakes him up in the middle of the night. Zahel suggests Kaladin ask the first man, not the second. Kaladin replies that he'll be back. Zahel then tells Kaladin not to be green from the ground, which confuses Kaladin, and Zahel just replies to not come with an attitude as beating up people younger than him makes him feel like a bully. So what do you think about Kaladin coming to Zahel to ask for training?
It's whatever.
He's like, shit, I should have taken Zahel up on that offer previously.
Right.
You don't need it. He can learn by himself.
So as Zahel gets back into his cot and closes his eyes, he expects a voice to speak into his head. However, there wasn't one, and there hadn't been one in years. So what do you think that means that Zahel, aka Vasher, hasn't been with Nightblood in years?
That's because it's here, and that's why.
That's because it's having its own adventure. Also, I want your opinion on this, and I actually genuinely don't know which one is better. But I feel more biased towards one side, which is why I was like, he can learn by himself or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I know that a lot of people usually, when they want to learn stuff, they go towards someone who already knows how to do them and do them well, and then they try to learn off of them. But wouldn't that just set them in the same pattern that whatever person knows how to do it uses, rather than developing one yourself?
Well, not necessarily, because they're not gonna have to go through as many of the trials as the previous person did to figure out the best strategies. And
that's what I'm saying though. They're gonna have set stuff already to follow because of stuff that the previous person experienced, right?
I think that's why sometimes it's best to get instruction from many teachers so that you see different ways of doing it. But I think learning from people is still better than trying it out yourself, depending on how hard the skill is and how much time you have to learn. Because Kaladin's I don't have time. I need to learn how to fight a shard bearer. Because we don't know when the assassin will be back. If he had years and years to do it, maybe it would be better if he just kind of slowly learned on his own. But he don't have the time for that. He's like, the assassin can be back tomorrow for all I know.
That's fair.
So then we get Interlude 7, Taln. We switch to Talon's point of view as he remembers the torture of his time in Damnation. People are speaking around him, talking about Talon and how creepy his staring is. Apparently Wit had accompanied the person who had picked up Talon at first, and at one point he had hit himself in the head with a rock and mocked the man who had been driving. Talon continues to think of the heat and death of Damnation. The man continues that Wit had eventually run off into the hills, and someone else says not to question Wit or why he does things. Apparently one of the men here is Elhokar. So what do you think about how broken Talon's mind is?
Oh, him. I was like, who's Talon?
Talon Ellie Lynn.
Yeah. Calm down.
Yeah, you say it 20 times fast.
Talon Ellie Lynn, 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 Talon Ellie Lynn. But yeah, my question. What do you think about how broken Talon's mind is?
It's not broken.
I mean, everybody's broken in this
It's
universe.
just got flavor.
Talon has been tortured for 4,500 years.
Okay, but it's willing torture.
Kind of. So Elhokar asks Talon if he can hear him, and Talon replies that he is Talon Ellie Lynn, Herald of War. He says the desolation is approaching. Apparently he isn't speaking very loudly, as the men in the room can barely hear what he is saying, and Elhokar tries to ask where the man got the shardblade he had been holding. It's also mentioned that the shardblade had been with Talon, was completely unaccounted for, which was strange since most shardblades are tracked through the generations. So what do you think about the fact that no one believes that Talon is who he says he is?
I wouldn't either. Think about it. How much fucking time has passed?
That'd be like someone appearing in present times, being like, "I am Jesus, the actual Jesus."
One of the Jesuses.
Everyone be like, yeah, sure you are, buddy. Let's just put you in the asylum."
And then he starts fucking levitating.
Just starts walking on water. They try and give him a bath, and he just stands on top of it.
It turns into wine.
Oh gosh. But what do you think, Mythic, about the fact that no one believes Talon?
Talon
Ellie Lynn.
Mm-hmm. What was the question?
What do you think about the fact that no one believes that Talon is who he says he is?
Because he's not. Well,
we've seen into his mind. This is Talon. This is definitely Talon.
Don't.
Okay, but what if Mythic's not wrong, and this motherfucker is not a ruin. What's it called?
A shard?
No, the bad dudes, Voidbringer, dude.
Inquisitor?
No.
Voidbringer.
Shending?
Oh,
Frustrating?
Voidbringer?
Voidbringer. Yeah, what if he's like tricking everyone? You never know.
No, this is Talon. I'm telling you now,
No,
this
no.
is Talon.
This is what we know, okay?
No,
Are you giving us
you're lying.
spoilers?
you're
We're
lying
in his
to us.
head. He is Talon.
No,
Wow.
but people have head issues.
Yeah, exactly.
Also,
What if he doesn't even know if he's Talon or not?
Right.
Also, if you remember, the reason why that they can't account for his shard blade is because, as we mentioned before, each herald had their own shard blade, and when they go to hell, when they go to damnation, they take their shard blade with them. So if you remember, like when they were putting their shard blades in the circle, there was one missing, which was Talon's because he had died and gone to damnation. So that's why like no one knows of this shard blade because it hasn't been there. It's been in damnation for 4,500 years.
Yeah.
Interesting.
And
now it's come back to put itself in the circle.
Mm-hmm. Talon continues on his speech, mentioning how each of the heralds will help them in the coming desolation. The men can still barely make out some of the words he is saying. They also mention how the shard blade hadn't disappeared when Talon dropped it, meaning that he hadn't bonded it. They talk about how Talon just keeps repeating the same thing, and that they should send him to the Ardents to see if they can help him, and Dalinar mentions that he had a use for the shard blade. Talon then says he may be too late and wonders over and over how long it has been. Too long. So what do you think Dalinar has planned for Talon's shard blade?
He's gonna use it.
He's gonna give it a. He's gonna give it a.
Kaladin. He's gonna give it to Kaladin.
That's what I was trying to think of.
Yeah.
Do you think Kaladin will accept a shard blade?
No.
No.
But
Yeah.
No, but some might like it because it's not necessarily a shard blade.
You think maybe she'll like the shard blade because it's like different, maybe? Because he's been gone since before the Recreants. And she said the shard blades were fine before the Recreants happened.
Right.
So maybe his shard blade is fine.
Or maybe he'll give it a dumbass runner.
Renner already has a shard blade.
Yeah, but
He doesn't need another
That's
one.
borrowed, isn't he?
No,
Isn't
it's
it?
Adolin gave it to him. Adolin won it. It's his now.
Right.
yeah, it totally is.
So then we get our final interlude, Interlude 8, A Form of Power. So we go back to Eshonai's point of view as she returns to Narak after the High Storm and her transformation. Eshonai marvels at the energy inside her, at the red lightning that comes out of her hand when she makes it into a fist. Instead of the bulky armor of Warform, she now had small ridges in her tight skin. The new armor was very durable as she had tested it out on rocks before coming back. She also had hair strands again, and she also felt more focused and more sure of herself. So what do you think of Eshonai's change into storm form?
It's gonna go great, especially when they see them, you know?
I mean, I like the fact that she wants to try to create an army of Stormform.
Yeah, she's like, we just need a whole bunch of us. It'll be
Yeah,
great.
it sounds a lot like, the way Ruin was manipulating people.
Venli pushes her way
I
to
like Odium so much.
Venli pushes her way to the front of the crowd to watch Eshonai leap easily across the chasm into Narak. As she lands, Thude comes out and mentions that her eyes are red now. She replies that they are a representation of what she has become, and Thude begins to mention the songs, but he is cut off by Eshonai calling out to Venli. Venli hurries out towards Eshonai, and Eshonai says she can feel a storm brewing beyond the rhythms. She states that with enough
Which
listeners
has
in
full
storm
power.
form, they could bring about the storm. Eshonai then speaks loudly to the large group of listeners as she tells them that the Rider of Storms has betrayed them for the humans, but with this form they can stand on their own against the humans. All around her, the listeners hum to the rhythm of awe. As she basks in it, she ignores the voice inside her, screaming in horror. So what do you think about this voice in Eshonai that's like screaming in horror? That's what's happened.
Screaming in whores?
In horror.
I mean, the
It's
concept.
the freaking the Spren. It's getting
Mm.
tortured by this fucking power.
I kind of agree with Darkness. It sounds very pliable.
So we have our overview questions now. First of all, how do you think Eshonai being in storm form is going to affect the peace negotiations with Dalinar?
It's going to ruin it.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
Eshonai's been trying so hard for these peace negotiations, and now she's storm form. Also, how do you think Shallan's men are going to treat her now that they know she has a shard blade?
She's essentially become their master.
Yeah, true.
If they thought about fucking her over previously, they're not going to now. They're like, oh yeah, she's just gonna murder us if we go against her.
Right.
Mhm.
How do you think Kaladin may change his outlook on his duties now that he has fought Zeth?
I mean, like, how seriously he's gonna take it now, considering he's been taking it pretty serious lately?
Well, like, just like, how do you think it's gonna like the fact that like he's now fought like another shard bear, like, or not shard bear, another surge binder? How do you think that's gonna like affect him? Like,
a Surgebinder.
Surge binder.
Well, obviously, he already took steps to bettering himself as soon as
Yeah.
possible.
I mean, hey, he lost an arm for it, you know. Now
Well-
he's just lose a leg.
Also, what do you think
Break
is
a
going to
leg.
happen with Zeth and his existential crisis?
He's gonna switch sides as soon as
Yeah,
he
he's
can.
definitely eventually gonna switch sides for sure.
Mm.
And then he's gonna make sweet love with Kaladin.
Somehow
Okay,
he's
then.
gonna break. Yeah, somehow he's gonna break his oath or whatever with that stone, and then
You think he's going to just give up
Aw,
being truthless?
What if Kaladin gets a little
Mhm.
servant boy?
Seth just takes his stone back, his oath stone back from Taravangi and gives it to Kaladin.
You are my master now.
What do you think is going to happen with Town? Do you think they're gonna like
Who the fuck is Tao?
Town
Tabalalabalala?
Lynn?
Yeah, that one. Okay. He's going to therapy, right?
Well, it sounds like they want to send him off to the Ardents. Yeah.
no
To
way.
therapy.
Therapy. I don't understand that. I can't do therapy.
Be fine. He'll be like tortured and taken information out of, but it's fine.
Also, do you think that we're gonna start to see more of the other heralds around now that we've met Town properly?
No, those bitches are dead.
You think well, if they were dead, they would have gone to Damnation. They'd be back now.
Nuh-uh.
They can't die, as far as we're aware.
They can definitely die.
As far as we know, they've just been chilling somewhere on Roshar for 4,500 years.
Yeah, now they're coming back.
I wonder what that dude's reaction would be if they pulled up with like riches and shit, like commodities.
They're like all those like vampires and stories where they just got like super fucking rich over time.
Right.
What if? Yeah.
What if they pulled the sill and just like forgot everything?
Maybe. Yeah. Do you guys have any other theories or? All right. So next week, actually, not next week. Next week is my wedding. So.
Yeah, we're totally doing it next week, right?
Nope. Next week is my wedding.
No, we're totally having a podcast, right?
Nope. Next week is my wedding.
Why does your wedding have anything to do with it?
Next week is my wedding. So in
Do it in the middle of it.
2 weeks, we will be doing chapter 35 to 39.
Why 4 chapters? I don't understand.
It's 5 chapters technically.
No, it's totally 4.
It's 5 chapters.
Wait, what? We never read the last one. What are you talking about?
Oh my gosh.
It's 239.
Yeah, so we'll be doing 5 chapters, and we're
Not
starting
recorded.
part 3, which is called Deadly.
I wonder why.
So thank you everyone so much for listening. We really appreciate it, and we'll hope to see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.